Hey! Give it some!
Welcome to Don't Everybody Leave. Say howdy to Mac King.
I learned from Joan Rivers. I worked with her a lot. I worked with a lot of comics.
Announcer from the Joan Rivers Show
I
on
was.
Fox.
It's The Late Show starring Joan Rivers. Joan's guests tonight are David Lee Roth, Pee Wee Herman, Elton John, and Cher. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Joan Rivers.
Joan Rivers!
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool gig.
Yeah, it was a great gig. Joan Rivers, I loved her.
She's brilliant.
I loved her. She was great to me. So was Rickles. I don't know, I worked with her.
Oh, you have Don Rickles stories.
Yeah, I do. Well, I have Don Rickles stories. You know, I guess, so you all know my wife, Kelly. So when we were engaged, I took her to see Don, and she had never seen him before. And so they knew I was coming, so they said, come back before the show, say hello.
So his wife is a singer
and an
comedian.
actress, comedian. Right.
Wonderful Kelly Clinton Holmes.
Yes, Kelly Clinton. So she was excited to meet Don. And at the time, my hair was high, and it was blonde, boy band, like Tips, right? So it was kind of, anyway. So we go into the dressing room, and Kelly's here, and I'm here, and Don's got his back towards us. He's watching a game on TV, and his manager goes, "Don, it's Clint," and he doesn't even turn around. He goes, "What do you want?" Right? I go, "Hi, Don, how are you?" And he turns around, he looks at my hair, and he says, "What, somebody stick a broom up your ass?" Like that. That's his first line, right? And we laugh, ha, ha, ha. And I said, "I wanted to introduce you to my fiance, Kelly." And he turns around, "Why?" That was it. You know?
Why?
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 Why are you marrying him?
Oh,
right? Why are you
okay.
marrying him? So then we actually talked to him, but that was his first thing. Why? What does he want? What? Did somebody stick a broom up? Why? So that was it.
Yeah, he seemed to have a really good understanding that was a real treat. For, like, if people are getting to meet him, they're hoping he'll say something horrible to them, and so giving people that was like a little gift.
My favorite Don Rickles story was told to me by Bob Newhart, who's his best friend, traveled with him. So blah, 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 Bob's talking about how he used to pay the maitre d', you know, put a fat guy, put a black guy, put a Chinese guy up close, right, in the audience. And so there would always be somebody like that in the audience. So one night Bob Newhart says, I'm watching the show, and there's a guy with the worst hairpiece I've ever seen sitting right up front. So I'm just waiting for the line. He says, he does the whole show, never mentions the guy, never says anything. I can't believe he missed that, right? And as he's walking off the band display, I'm a nice guy, and he's walking off, and he looks at the guy and he goes, "Sir, no one can tell." He's great.
I feel like everyone knows the Rickles Sinatra story to the point where I shouldn't even tell it.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, we can just move on.
And you know the Shecky Sinatra
I know who
story.
Shecky Green is, but I don't know the story.
You don't know the Shecky Sinatra story?
No.
Oh my God. Okay. It's a great story.
Shecky Green's great classic stand-up. Yeah.
Classic stand-up, but had a...
Who's Frank Sinatra?
Yeah, he's a singer. Shecky had a drinking problem, and he would, it's not talking out of school, and he would do crazy stuff, insult people on stage, and evidently, you know, it didn't matter. So one night, Shecky says, you know, people say a lot about Frank Sinatra, but I got to tell you the truth, he saved my life. He literally saved my life, Frank Sinatra. He says, one night I'm leaving Caesar's.
You don't know this story?
No. And I'm walking in the parking lot to get my car, and out of the shadows, three guys jump me, and they have me down on the ground, and they're beating the crap out of me, and I don't know what's going on. I can't, and suddenly I look up, and there's Sinatra, and he says, "Okay, guys, that's enough." Saved my life.
Any opportunity to point out that Sinatra has mob friends. That's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I've heard stories of people like, you know, running in, people that don't know Rickles at all, running into him and saying, "Mr. Rickles, would you please insult me?" And him going, "No, I only insult people who matter."
Yeah, that's it. There it is.
Really quick way to get them what they want and move on.
He was a very kind man, and he was very funny, and he was on almost all the time.
Yeah, I never got to meet him. I got to go to his last ever Vegas show, which was not billed that way. But he couldn't. I've mentioned this on the show before, so I'll just say it quickly. But he was unable to stand at that time.
That was tough.
So they lit the first 2 rows so he could eviscerate the first 2 rows, and he stood twice in the show with help from his band leader.
From his band leader, Nelson Cole.
Lifted him up once. Was to goose step because he had a Nazi joke he wanted to do. So he held him up. And the other was to do a joke where he had to illustrate banging his wife. Holding him up so he can do old man thrusts. It was unbelievable. I'm so glad I got to be in the room with him. It was great.
Yeah, I was at one of those shows too. One of the final shows. Yeah, I said to because he was still trying to do that stuff that he does, you know. And I said to my wife, I says, if he keels over right now and dies, it's perfect.
Right.
I mean, it would be perfect for him. You know what I mean?
He's in the 90s, still doing shows. Yeah.
Still doing that stuff, and okay, fine.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I kind of
get that.
Yeah,
I get that.
That's all of our goal.
I want to be 102.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's
a little longer.
Yeah, maybe. Oh. Yeah, 107. Okay.
So Clint has more showbiz stories about other people than we ever have time for, and I love them. But I also kind of want to ask him about his career.
Yeah, you should, yeah. What do you?
Only if you'll allow it, Mr. King.
Well, sir.
Nothing interesting happened to me.
Would you like to talk about yourself at all?
No, I'd like to tell some more stories.
Well, you can pick. I want to talk about your mom.
You want to talk about my mom? Do you have a specific question?
Well, sure. I mean, I want to know your mom's history as a singer, because there's a wonderful clip of you doing a show here in town.
Because this also answers a question that you dodged earlier. Go ahead.
Oh, I don't know. I only know where I'm going. Okay. No, there's one of your filmed concerts that people can watch of you here in Vegas. You go to your mom in the audience, who's elderly, and say she's an opera singer, and I don't know how old she was at the time, but she sings into the mic in full voice, and it's unbelievable.
My mom's here tonight. You want to really hear her sing? Yeah? Ma, you want to sing? Come on. She's right back here. Come on.
Little baby, don't you cry.
That's my mom at the age of 90. 90. Look at that.
Summertime.
That's my Tommy Tune moment.
That's
my
right.
mom happens to be here tonight.
So when you said earlier,
is that the Dodge?
I've never manufactured anything.
No. I would just do it when she was there. I mean,
well, of course.
I didn't hire her to come to the
True,
show.
Okay.
And it was
really in the audience.
But I mean, I've seen
your
show 20 times, and 17 times your mom's there.
Well, that's my joke. People come up to me all the time and they say, "I was there the night your mom sang." You know, and I go, "Yeah, okay."
She loved that moment.
But so and Larry Moss, who's a director that I work with, used to say to me, he says, because we were talking, I'm writing a play, blah blah blah, and a lot of it is about my mom and my dad and my relationship. And he said, I'd say, my mom got her, her I'm a star moment by me doing that when she was here. And he said, yeah, but you got your look at my mom moment too. So, it was mutual. It was a mutual thing.
And I feel like, that voice coming out of anybody, in her 30s, unbelievable. But you going to her, was she in her 80s at the time?
She was in her 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, not quite her 90s.
Yeah.
She lived to be 94, almost 95. But so yeah, in her late 80s, 88, 89.
Yeah, there's that extra layer to it. You just, I can't, it was instant standing ovation, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, everybody loved that.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So
She wasn't really my mom. That's the
okay, that's what I wanted to bring you here to talk about.
stunt mom.
So is she professional opera singer? Apologize for my ignorance, but she was professional opera
Yes,
singer?
yeah. My mom sang. She actually at 17 won the Golden Voice of England award in England as a young opera singer. Yeah, she sang Marguerite, Madame Butterfly, a bunch of stuff, and so she, it was during the war, World War II, going into the war, and she probably would have had a real career. She was young and she was singing, but yeah, she was a professional opera singer when she met my dad,
Right.
who was a soldier,
Right.
who was in the army, and in those days he was in Southampton, England, waiting to be stationed somewhere in Europe, with his troop, and my mom was singing opera in Bournemouth, which is about 20 miles from Southampton, 25 miles from Southampton, and they had a USO evening. And again, in those days, the troops were segregated. The black troops were that group. So they tried to find people who would, especially ladies, who would go and dance with the black soldiers and perform for them. And for some reason, my mother said, "I'll do it," right? And so she went, and that's how my dad and mom met at a USO. I don't want to say a USO show. It was more of an evening, right? In Southampton, England. And then. After the war, they had me after the war, and then my father, unlike a lot of soldiers, actually brought us over. A lot of soldiers.
So you're technically English.
I was born in England, yeah.
Have you ever considered billing yourself that way?
That's technically English.
Technically.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, technically English. Yeah, you didn't get
Direct.
the accent.
I was 18 months when I came over.
Okay.
When my mom met my dad, she was married to an older aristocratic British gentleman and had a daughter. So when she met my father and they fell in love, it was,
I can't believe I never heard this story.
I don't tell this story.
That's why you have me on the show.
but I'm contemplating putting it in the show because it's an element of, holy cow, it goes even beyond the white woman and the black guy in the late 40s, right? It goes beyond that. And so you go, what made my mother literally leave her marriage and her daughter to come to America with me? That's heavy stuff. Because I think that my mom was still married to the other guy when she got pregnant with me, I think. Because my dad didn't meet me till I was, I don't know, a few months old, because he was in Germany. My dad drove survivors out of Auschwitz, which is something that I never knew until after he died. His brother told me that. I said, well, how come my father would never? He said, because he didn't want to talk about it.
PTSD.
So they fall in love. My dad gets shipped to Germany, to drive tanks and trucks. And I think she was pregnant with me. I was born in 46, so that would be 45. Sometime in 1945, all this happened. Then the war ends, and my mother has a decision to make. She chooses to leave her then husband and her daughter, who was 3 years old, and my dad brings us to America in 48. Yeah, 47, 48, like that.
Quite a heavy
choice.
choice.
So there's so much in like when you ask about my
for what
mother.
has to have been a harder life, right?
I don't know if they knew that though. Here's my thought. So my dad was a jazz singer. He was in Louisville, Kentucky, singing with a guy named Leon Bibb, who, if you ever watch, there's a series that was on about Harry Belafonte hosted The Tonight Show. Johnny Carson, right. And the night he hosted it, his guests were Martin Luther King, Harry Belafonte, and Leon Bibb. Leon Bibb was a black folk singer. My dad sang with him in Louisville before he went into the army. So here's my envisionment. I think my dad was thinking, wait till the guys see this, right? Because my mom was beautiful. She looked like Ingrid Bergman. That's what she looked like. Wait till the guys see this. And my mom's envisionment was, I'm going to America to become an opera star. That's what I think. And then they had me, to which my father probably went, shit. So my father moved us to Farnham, 500 people. 25 miles south of Buffalo, figuring it would be safer. But it was also 500 people. You know what I mean? It was like,
Yeah,
there we
it's
are.
like the joke in your act too, right? One black girl
What? Yeah,
to
right.
date in high school.
It's my sister.
And my
Right,
sister.
it was it. I actually looked. I went to the census, and I looked. Farnham, New York, 1964, which is when I left. The ratio of white to black, and there were. I'll make this number up a little bit, like 550, which is very close. People there, and the ratio was 97% Caucasian, 1% African American, and 1% other. And the 1% African American was us. Was my family. Wow. Yeah, it's like, and then I left, and then Gail left, so it was left with my dad.
Can't change
1% of 550 would be 5.5.
Yeah, I'm right. I'm the big I don't know if they went that deeply into it, but yeah, like that.
Jason's our mathematician.
That would have been hysterical, actually.
A photo of you next to the hat.
So so for my mom, this was when she came here, which was the last 10 or 12 years of her life.
To Las Vegas.
To Las Vegas, I'm sorry, yeah. She got to be a bit of a celebrity.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and meet people like Mac, and you know.
Well, she was just delightful.
She was great. She was really, really happy. I mean, she was, you know.
But yeah, you could tell that she enjoyed that sort of adulation.
Meeting, sitting backstage with Siegfried and Roy, and you know all these people who, you know, and everybody was really nice. Danny Gans, Wayne, you know, all of them were very nice to her. So I feel like I gave her at least a bit of what she probably came to America for. It's
Are
all
you looking
true,
at
so-
notes about what you wanted to ask?
I have so more stuff to ask Clint about than we will possibly have time for.
What's
But
the best one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I will say when I first met Clint, which was just in passing, I think it was at Earl Turner's birthday. I said hello and some niceties, and then I said you and Mac were in. I'm friends with Mac, and you and Mac were in the same room performing together for a while. And he said, yeah. And if he were a real friend, he would have left when I did. That's what he said to me. And I was like, that guy's cool.
That's true.
I gotta hang out with him. Yeah. No, there are two songs of yours that I love individually, but I feel like content-wise they're related, so I wanted to ask about them.
Okay.
First one, I wrote them down so I wouldn't mess it up. First one is called "Stop This Train."
Oh, it's not my song. John Mayer.
Okay,
John Mayer wrote that.
but it's on one of your records.
Yes.
And it has a lyric in it. You know, I'm afraid of getting older. I'm
Yeah,
only
only
good at being
young.
Yeah.
So afraid of growing older, I'm only good at being young.
And then this newer song of yours that I love and listen to all the time is, and I think it's embarrassing to then look down and say the name of it. I'm so nervous. It's called "If Not Now, When."
Yeah.
And those seem like they have similar themes of not procrastinating. Is that like a theme for you that you think about with your career?
I wrote
or-
If Not Now When after I had cancer back 15, 16 years ago.
Man, we just keep bringing up
Well,
the worst. I'm so sorry.
mean, Mac knows this thing. I mean, they found it. It was early. I got rid of it. They found it on a Friday. I had the surgery on a Wednesday, and I was home 5 days later. So I mean, I dodged the bullet, right?
Yeah.
But it does make you think.
But what kind of cancer was it?
Colon.
And what was the note I put on your windshield when you got
Shit,
cancer?
I forget now, but it was.
But he
it
remembers what was
so
it.
I
Mac,
remember.
yeah.
I was dear Clint. I just stuck. I mean, I didn't see you, but I put on my way out. I saw your car, and I'm like, it just popped into my head. Wrote down on a piece of paper, stuck it under his windshield wiper, drove home. And you called me. This is so funny. It said, "Dear Clint, tough shit."
That is a spirit lifting note.
Oh yes.
In the words of Dionne Warwick, that's what friends are for.
Yeah,
Right?
that was really great. I think early on I had won some award like Entertainer of the Year, whatever it was, and they put it on my parking lot. It's a parking spot, something like that.
Oh, yeah, we had assigned parking, yeah.
And Mac's parking spot was like next to mine, and I saw a cardboard thing when I came in. It was like Magician of the Week or something like
know,
that. It was like that. It was just
that's
for me to
fantastic.
see. It was for
Yeah.
me to see. Right? Yeah. So anyway, so that's the genesis of that song. Was I was going through a lot of indecision in my life. Part of it was about my marriage, and when I had the cancer, I went, you know, what are you doing? Are you gonna, it was like I was healthy all my life, so I never even thought about it, right? And then all of a sudden you go, oh shit, I'm just a guy who could, So it just made me think about, if you're not going to do the things you want to do in your life now, what are you waiting for? Right.
Yeah.
So that song, Stop This Train came later.
Yeah.
Came later. My daughter Brittany told me John Mayer wrote a song about us, our family. And I was like, what? And it's just a great song.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So yeah, they do have a correlation.
But that if not now, when is like, it is that theme of don't put things off, but in the most happy, uplifting, So it's great for me to listen to when I'm like, today's a day where you're going to get some shit done for your career and call your mom and all this. So that's been a really helpful song for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That makes me feel great.
Running out of time, running through my prime, running past where I've been. And every choice I make is a chance I take. But if not now, when? If not now, when will I be strong enough to be me? When will I be everything that I am? When will...
Makes me feel great.
He told me to say that before the
Did
show.
he?
Yeah.
Okay.
I never heard it before. No, I'm kidding. No, I didn't know that it was connected to cancer. That's.
Well, it's really connected to the realization that we're not here forever, and there are things that I have procrastinated about. My mom actually talked about this today earlier in a thing I did. My mom, because I was a mixed race kid in a town where I was the only one, my mom would say every day before I go to school, Clinton, be nice, be nice. And when I come home from school, Clinton, were you nice? So I spent a lot of my life just being nice, which is a great thing in a certain way, but it's also people can take advantage of you if you're always nice and you never stand up and go, no, that's not what I want. So If Not Now When was also about that, about standing up and saying, no, this is what I want. This is what I want to do. I matter also.
Yeah.
Right? So it was a lot about an evolution in my brain.
So Mac, this is a good time to ask if we can change the name of the show to have my name in it instead of yours.
Yes.
I'm with him.
I matter also.
You've done some live shows, though.
Yeah, you're back too, right? I got shows coming up. He's got shows coming
Hey,
up.
when does this air? Or does it air, really?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Which will be your opening night.
Correct.
Day.
Yeah. Why don't we-
Mac doesn't have opening nights. He has opening afternoons.
Yeah. And I think we kind of trying to plan on coming to that. Just to have
Really?
Do you remember
Yeah.
how to do all that stuff?
Nope. As you can see, I'm practicing.
yeah.
There's props on screen.
I tell you what, I'm doing something that's too late. It's this Saturday, but I still want to talk about it a little bit. Okay. So again, something different.
You're a
something-
genius, by
something-
the way.
What?
Because that means you don't have to do that thing for Earl.
You're doing that?
So for the viewer at home,
He's not a genius.
for the viewer at home, Vegas entertainers never say, no, I don't want to do that. They say, oh, I'd love to, but I have this other thing.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Well, I'm
I
doing
just
it.
assumed you were doing it.
No, that's
And then he
funny.
sent me the rundown today, and I'm like, how did Clint
But
get out of this?
I will be calling
I thought
him.
you were out of town.
We wanted to
I figured
talk
you were
about
out of
you.
town on Saturday. So you're
So
doing
anyway,
this
so
thing.
I'm doing this thing. So they said, okay, so it's 3 to 5 guitar players and a violinist, right? And so we started. I said, well, I don't know what songs do you do with a gypsy band? I don't know, And they said, well, we do standard songs. And so a few weeks ago, Mundo came over, and so I'm doing things like Stevie Wonder's "I Wish," looking back on when I was, but it's like another guy goes in, looking back on, which makes the whole song different. So I'm doing that. I'm doing Spain, right, with them, and I'm doing a song I wrote called "The Perfect Trance," which is on my CD, and a couple of others, and it's so much fun to sit with those guys and in my living room, they're strumming and doing the very specific guitar things. It's not like just strumming. It's like he's playing this figure, he's playing that figure, and he's playing that figure, and it all comes together in this kind of really interesting thing. So anyway, I'm excited about it. It's something I've never done before, which I'm always looking for.
Yeah.
that,
Well, what's it like?
Because I wasn't invited to Earl's thing.
Earl, if you're watching.
I just
No, it's
assumed you were
great.
going to be there.
Oh no, it's something I can pick on that.
Yeah, good.
So anyway, I'm doing that, and then I'm going to do a masterclass, a vocal masterclass, at the end of this month. And then I'm going to Florida, and then I'm doing my next notoriety thing, which is a really cool small club I'm working at the end of July.
We should all go to that.
Absolutely. And if you're here ever in Vegas and Clint is doing a show, you
Yeah.
have to go to it. There's no better music show to see in Vegas than
Thank
Clint
you,
Holmes.
thank you.
I think that's actually true.
No, yeah.
Well-
Unlike most of the stuff Jacob says, hey, Verdine White is the bass player in Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Okay,
I
yes,
said a
yeah.
couple true things so far.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
But what's it like? Because you obviously had, like all of us, had a huge hunk of time off, and I know what that's like.
Yeah.
Trying to do magic tricks after all that time. But the voice is also like an instrument. So did you have to work at it?
You know what?
While you're off?
I got inspired to vocalize. As I started to work, I did a one song thing. Composer Showcase is a thing that's done in town where only writer, if you wrote a song, you don't have to sing it, but you have to be there.
Right.
And you'd have to like ask me to sing it. You know what I mean? It's so everybody in that audience, most everybody is a writer or a musician, and it's once a month, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, super
Very
cool
supportive.
It's really
so
fun.
so I was asked to sing a song. This was the first time I sang after all this went on, and I got through the song and went, what if I had another hour to do? You know? So that inspired me to get back and I took a couple of voice lessons, and I got back to vocalizing, because you have
Feels
to.
like a muscle that you have to keep
It
strong.
is. It's like anything else. Can I tell you a story about that? About you have time?
We don't like stories here on this show. No,
Yeah,
please.
yeah.
Oh my
That's all we
gosh.
want you to do is tell stories.
So about that period of time,
And play the
pandemic.
trombone. But
I
regardless.
forgot.
But story first.
Okay, so there's a guy named Frank Wildhorn. Frank Wildhorn is a writer. Frank Wildhorn wrote "Where Do Broken Hearts Go?" For Whitney Houston, and he's written, I'm gonna say, 20 Broadway shows. He's the only composer, including Andrew Lloyd Webber and all of those people, who ever had 3 shows running on Broadway at the same time. Little known fact. Jekyll and Hyde, from which the song "This Is the Moment, This Is the Day" comes. He wrote Bonnie and Clyde, which wasn't a huge hit, but was really wonderful. So anyway, he's been a friend of mine for years. The last time I was in New York before the pandemic hit, I went to have a drink up at his apartment, and he said, do you remember about 5 years ago you were playing at the Carlisle, and I came in, and I told you I loved your original songs, and we should write together. And I sent you 10 melodies. And I went, oh yeah, I do. He said, why didn't you write any lyrics to them? I said, oh, I don't know. I guess I was on the road and da-da-da-da-da. And he said, yeah. He said, first of all, it's a really stupid move. He said, because when I write songs, I don't write them for fun. I write them because I either have a project in mind or I'm going to be inspired to do a project. He said, so I sent you 10 melodies and you didn't write any lyrics to them. And I'm like, man, I'm sorry. And he says, no, I'm just telling you. It was stupid move. Right. So now the pandemic hits and I'm sitting home and I go, I'm going to go back and find those melodies and I'm going to write a lyric. And he's going to go, yes. So I found a melody, one of the melodies, and I wrote a lyric and I sent it to him. And he calls me up and he says, that melody is gone. It's in a show called blah, blah, blah that I had da-da-da write the lyric to. It's gone. I go, oh shit. He said, I told you. He said, I don't write these things for just to write them. He said, this is what I do. I'm like, oh shit. He said, but I promise you I'll send you a new melody. Right. So whenever, a week later, I get a new melody from Frank. And I said to Kelly, I'm going to write the greatest lyric I've ever written. Right? So I really work on it. And I'll shorten the story a little bit, but there is a good payoff. So I sit down and I spend a lot of time on the lyric and I figure it out. Because basically what he sends you is la 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 la, write a lyric, right? Right? You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, what do I, so I worked out this lyric and I sent it to him. And he calls me back and actually we FaceTime. And he said, really good idea. He said, not fully fleshed out. He said, because I don't know where these characters who fell in love during this song came from. What were they before? Who were the broken heart? No, maybe married before. Blah, 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 blah. Dive into that. So, oh shit, okay. So I dive into it and I sent him a lyric and he says, that's a great lyric. He said, that is a A-level, pro-level lyric. And he sends me 5 melodies. So now I have a lot of time, right? I'm not doing anything. So I set up in my mind, I am now a lyric writer. professional. 10 in the morning, I'm going to have my coffee. And 10 in the morning, I'm going to go and I'm going to write. And I work on these things. 4 or 5 songs into it, he says, okay. He says, I have an idea. There's a play that was written in 1896 called La Ronde. And the idea of the play is there's a fictitious nightclub called La Ronde to which people from all over the world go because anything and everything goes in this nightclub. People, you know, whatever you can think of goes. He says the last 3 or 4 songs that we wrote, I think fit into that form. So I'm going to see if I can get this produced. The next thing I hear is Saida Garrett, who wrote Man in the Mirror, is also writing lyrics for this. Leslie Brickus, who wrote What Kind of Fool Am I? All those, is also writing lyrics. And I'm writing lyrics for this show that he not only has producers for, but is now going to be workshopped in Barcelona later this year, called La Ronde.
Wow.
So we have now written 11 songs that potentially will be in this play. So, you know, you go, thank God I had a drink with him that night. And he explained to me how he works. You know, I mean, we talked yesterday. He sent me another song. So, I mean, that's what I did during the pandemic. I wrote a Broadway show. Or I wrote lyrics to a So, I mean, isn't that a great story about the things that we don't think about, you know, and that, you know, he said, no, I don't write songs just to
And it
write
goes
songs.
back to be nice to everybody.
Well, I guess, be nice to everybody.
And also, you matter.
Also, you matter. And pay attention, damn it.
Yeah.
You know?
Listen.
You
Listen.
wrote a Broadway show. Mac painted a bookcase. I don't know if you've seen
I
it.
have seen it. And it's actually very impressive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you've written a Broadway show.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see if I've written a Broadway show.
I will give you this.
Give me this.
It would be great if you sang, but it would also be hilarious if you said, "Fuck right off, I'm not singing."
Well,
And we would deserve it.
no, you know, I mean, here's what I thought. I was sitting over there while you guys were, you know, talking at the beginning of the show. And something inspired me to think about the fact that, I don't know what it was, but it's something you guys are talking about, that I was in the Army during Vietnam, and I never had to go fight. And so many of my friends did, because I could sing. And yeah, right. And I was in the Army Navy School of Music, playing trombone. Oh, that's what it was. Because Max said something about trombone. That's what it was. Playing trombone. Hi.
That gets the chicks, right?
Right. Oh, definitely. And being ready there, they'll ship you off to some Army band somewhere in the world, right? But I was telling everybody at the School of Music that I was really a better singer than I was a trombone player, and they were you know, good. That's not what you're here for, right? The commanding officer of it was an Army Navy School of Music. So there was an Army whatever he was and a Navy whatever he was. The Navy guy was being promoted to captain, which would make him the highest ranking officer in the United States, blah, 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 in the music program. So they come to me and they say, "Are you really a good singer?" And I said, "Yeah, I really can sing." And they said, "Do you know the song Alfie?" And
What's it all about?
Yeah.
and I didn't, but I said yes. You know, right? You're in the Army, right? Yes, I do. I said, "Well, Captain McDonald is being promoted to he was whatever he was, whatever comes for captain, and he's going to be promoted to captain. Yeah, lieutenant.
Yeah, he's the military
He's
expert
Air
on the
Force guy.
panel.
Air Force vet,
Lieutenant
yeah.
commander, then captain.
Okay, commander.
In the Navy.
Commander McDonald's going to be promoted to captain, and they're flying his mother in, and his mother's name is Alfie. So would you sing it at the ceremony?" So again, I'm playing trombone, learning the marches, and waiting to be transferred somewhere. And I say, "Sure." I sing it at the ceremony. The next day, I get called into Captain McDonald's office, and he says, "Holmes," he said, "I want you to sing with the Navy band. You're going to stay here. I'm going to put you in the library, and you're going to sing with the Navy band, and you're a sergeant." I was promoted to a sergeant, and I know. And the end of that story is, so I did that, and then a year later, so that was my first year in the Army. A year later, General William Westmoreland is seeing a concert in Washington of the United States Army Chorus. He notices there are no people of color in the chorus. So he sends a thing to the Army Navy School of Music and says, "If you have any people of color who sing, we'd like him to come up and audition for the Army Chorus. They send me up, I audition, I get in. So the last 2 years of my Army was singing in the United States Army Chorus in Washington, D.C. And a month into it, literally, in that era, because it was the late 60s, all the best singers who didn't want to go to Vietnam were in the Army Chorus. It was an incredible group of singers who went on to sing in the Metropolitan Opera and went on to sing German Lieder in Germany. Great singers. But I get a call a month into it to say, we're doing a concert at Carnegie Hall and we want you to sing a solo. And I'm like, moi, right? And the solo was, gotta jump down, spin around, pick a bale of cotton. True story. True story. True story.
Did you do that?
I did.
Oh my God.
I'm in the Army.
Out of Vietnam.
And so I sang at Carnegie Hall. Gotta jump down, spin around, pick a bale of cotton. Gotta jump down, and the all-white cars going, oh, pick a bale of cotton. It was fantastic. I know. Oh God. It's a
I don't know
true
where to
story.
go after
I
that.
know. It's cringeworthy, isn't it? I mean,
That is. Oh
so I thought if I remember Alfie, I'm not sure I do. I don't know what key I would even do it. What's it all about, Alfie? It's probably too high. What's it all about, Alfie? Is it just for the moment we live? What's it all about when you sort it out, Alfie? Are we meant to take more than we give? Or are we meant to be kind? And if only fools are kind, Alfie, then I guess it is wise to be cruel. For if life belongs only to the strong, Alfie, what would you lend on an old golden rule? As sure as I believe there's a heaven above, Alfie, I'm sure there's something much more, something even non-believers can believe in. I believe in love, Alfie. I believe in love, Alfie. Da 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 da, as long as da 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 da, Alfie, until you find the love you've missed, you're nothing, Alfie. When you walk, let your heart lead the way, and you'll find love any day, Alfie. Alfie. Most of it. It's also like the hardest song I've ever written.
Oh my God! I
Oh,
can't believe you did
so
that. That
foot
was
from you. That was unbelievable.
yeah.
Wow.
So that song kept me out of Vietnam.
Yeah.
And it's forever linked to the story now.
Yeah.
For me too. That's all I'll think about. That
Well-
was fantastic. I don't think we can do
No,
anything yet.
that's Clint Holmes.
Yep.
It's Jason England, Jacob Jax. I'm Matt King, and I hate even to do this almost.
No, it's gonna be.
I had
this-
fun.
this
I
is-
had fun.
Well, we always close
Yeah.
with some.
I knew it was a cult thing, right? It's going to be a cult thing.
No, this is just some lyrics from my good friend George Clinton.
Oh,
And every show.
And every show with some lyrics from George.
I love it.
Check me out. I can slide between the molecules of wetness like an eel through seaweed. One slithering idiot. Mr. Wiggles here, your DJ for the affair. We'll be getting down and won't be coming up for air. So you can leave your nose at home. You might want to rent a blowhole. Oh! See you next week. Thanks.
Hey! Give us some!
Okay, you tell them. All right, you ready? You tell them.
Hey, hit the button to subscribe, okay?
He said it.